Well, hello everybody and welcome to session 2 of this year's Prevail webinar series. Now, some of you might remember that when COVID first hit, I think probably in about March or April of 2020, I believe, we started a Prevail webinar series. And at that point, we were all grasping at straws trying to figure out, my gosh, how is our business going to get through this deal? So we talked about things about remote selling, things such as that, and really put together a lot of people that shared a lot of great information that I think helped a bunch of people throughout that period. Well, lo and behold, here we are again, 24 months later, or 18 months later, and many of us certainly prevailed as it related to getting business throughout this period. But now we have a whole collection of different issues we're dealing with right now. So that's what this particular webinar series is all about. Again, the title of the series is How to Better Navigate the Labor Shortage and Manage Backlog. And today's session is going to be on the backlog part of it. Got some great speakers lined up, going to give you some great information. Now, today's session is going to last approximately 60 to 75 minutes, depending on questions. And you can submit questions or to send them our way during the webinar by using the communication palette that you have. There's an area in your palette that says questions. If you click on it, you can submit a question, and we'll do our best to monitor that. Although we had hundreds of people register for this webinar, so we may not be able to totally keep up, but we'll do our best. And please hang around till the end, because frankly, that's when a lot of great information gets shared, because we're actually going to take many of your questions and bring them to the attention of the whole group. Probably some things that are on the minds of all of you when these questions get submitted. So again, thanks for joining us here today. Looking forward to presenting this content today. Now, you need to be aware that this webinar series is made available, and if it wasn't for these sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do this. They go ahead and front all the costs involved. So if you don't mind, what we're going to do is just give you a brief introduction to what all these sponsors do, and we're going to do it kind of 3 steps. Don't want to take a bunch of time just on this one screen now. So right now, I just want to talk about the first 4 sponsors: EverPro, Qualified Remodeler, Socius Marketing, and MarketSharp. Now, EverPro, probably a brand that you haven't heard. EverPro is a brand under the EverCommerce subsidiary or EverCommerce collection of companies, and you're going to hear a lot more about EverPro. Many of these companies on this webinar here today, are within the EverPro group. So EverPro is a company that has tailored integrated software solutions for field service and home improvement professionals used to streamline day-to-day business operations. So watch for more from EverPro as time unfolds. Qualified Remodeler, we know all about those folks. From the latest in remodeling products to design and business ideas, Qualified Remodeler is a business resource that provides industry insight on many fronts. Socius Marketing, home improvement marketing experts. They do a great job with this stuff. They create custom digital strategies to ensure homeowners will find your business, and when they get to your website, you'll get them converted. So check out what Socius Marketing can do for you. And of course, MarketSharp, it's an industry-specific CRM for contractors, remodelers, and home improvement professionals, really used to centralize your leads, customers, and all your job information. So thanks for that. We'll talk about the next 4 sponsors in a little bit, but just wanted to, again, let you know that these are the folks that are making the webinar possible. So again, my name is Tim Mush, Director of Business Development here at MarketSharp. Won't bore you with all the details of this bio here, but I've been around for quite a while. And MarketSharp as a product, has been made available to about 4,000 of the company's most successful home improvement and home services companies. And over the past few years, I really spent a lot of time speaking to hundreds of groups, really building a case for the benefits of streamlining or systemizing local independent businesses. So with that, how about the next speaker? And that's going to be Pam Tory. And Pam is the Director of Marketing for Engage. Many of you are Engage clients, great product. And she's been with the company for 2 years. Prior to that, she was marketing for a financial tech company and worked as an account manager for business-to-business sales at Apple. So we'll hear from Pam shortly. Next, we got Patrick Fingels, and I've known Patrick for a few years now. And Patrick's the CEO of Leap and has been a leader in the home improvement industry for nearly 2 decades. He's also the co-owner and CEO of New Look Home Design, where he's led the development execution of a $30 million nationally recognized award-winning home improvement company. And he's responsible for the overall strategic and cultural vision of the organization, and he embodies the concept of LEAP being built for the industry by the industry. So interested in hearing what Patrick's got to say. And then my friend John Anglis. John's an accomplished entrepreneur. In addition to helping salespeople all over the country, John still owns and operates his thriving remodeling enterprises in suburban Connecticut. This keeps him active and relevant, which is a rarity among these in the consulting arena. And he's built a business using a unique sales methodology that's been proven to increase closing ratios while at the same time elevate customer satisfaction. And that's important with what we're talking about here today. And John has a conversational approach to selling that appeals to a larger audience because of his focus on ushering prospects to want to buy instead of forcing them to buy. So excited about John and what he's got to go to talk about here today. So with that, let's go ahead and bring our first speaker into the session. So Patrick, are you with us?
I am, Tim. Thanks for the introduction there.
You're very welcome. Let's get to your first slide and go ahead and let us know how we can manage some of this backlog stuff we got going on.
All right, good. So listen, just right before I jump in, I think you saw in my bio, I own a home improvement company. So a lot of what you hear today, you'll be hearing from a business owner, much like yourself, that's dealing with backlog. We're a roofing company predominantly. We sell windows, siding, really an exterior remodeler. We operate in a 5-state territory. And as Tim said, we do about $30 million in business. So managing that over the 5-state territories has been challenging. I also, though, am the owner and CEO of Leap. Leap, for those of you who don't know, it is a software that helps streamline really your production and sales process, and is really, a robust point of sale system for the home services industry. It's going to seem a little biased, and it seems like, I'm kind of talking from a Leap perspective here, but I'm not. I'm simply telling you from a perspective of, how New Look battled backlog, and the technologies we use were just a big part of that, and how we're still battling that backlog. So I don't want it to feel like it's coming from a sponsor and it's self-serving and I'm trying to push our product. This is an unbiased representation of how New Look has used technology to help maintain better customer standards and better and manage backlog through the process. So I just want to start with that. What I'm going to talk about really are these 6 bullets. One, understanding what inventory is available versus not, updating your team through in real time through technology, giving your team the tools to be successful. I mean, you could say, hey, stop selling this product, or make sure you tell the customers it takes 12 weeks to install this, but giving them the tools to support that. Do not rely on he said, she said, and we'll get to that in a second. Understanding customer amnesia. That's, you tell them something, but 12 weeks is a long time, so they forget. You need to keep them up to date. And, do you have too many customers? Which is a big question. Are there people that you're dealing with right now that you shouldn't be dealing with because life might be hard right now from an inventory management perspective? So as we dive in, our first slide we want to look at here, really, what this is just an example. This is what we're all dealing with. Understanding what inventory is available versus not, understanding where you're seeing price increases. I just picked this. This is a Certainteed siding color availability, right? So we got this from Certainteed, and this is showing everything in red that's not available, right? And I'm getting this as a customer. Got it on May 14th, 2021. Thanks there, Tim, for the spotlight. So you see Cedar Blend right there, right? So Cedar Blend is discontinued. So moving on, what we did was we took this document and we do a couple of things with this. What we did was we take that document, and the first thing that we want to do is we go into everything that we're communicating with salespeople and everything we're doing with customers. We represent that we are a transparent organization. So I want to mitigate the likelihood of error. So this shows a back end of the selling tool that we use. Again, coincidentally, this is Leap. And this shows a drill down. So when our sales team is giving estimates, they can only estimate products. They can only put products on the contract that I allow them to estimate. So I can go into the back end as soon as I get that notification, and I make sure that my salespeople can't sell that because they can't sell it. They physically cannot put it on the contract. and they physically cannot pull a price. If you look at this kind of last box, you'll see that these are the colors associated with certainty, and you'll notice that cedar blend is not on there. So as soon as that comes in for us, we're saying, hey, let's take that out. Now, if you're using like printed price guides or something, the first thing you got to do is you got to pull all that in. If you have it in a OneDrive or something, make sure you get it out of the hands of them. Take the information away. They can't sell it. Moving on. So this just kind of shows the cross-reference that you can't see that cedar blend. Moving on. So the next thing that we do is we want to give them the tools to be successful. So one, we take that away. Okay, we solve that problem. But maybe they went on Certainty's website, or maybe they had cedar blend at their neighbor's house that was bought last year. So, we want to make them understand that it's not we're not offering that product due to supply chain demand. That product's been taken away. So what I'm showing you here is I'm showing you a screenshot of the resources. So what we do is we go in and we take that information and we put that into our sales tools, into our resources within Leap. So they're saying, hey, if they need to access it, they say, hey, that color's no longer available. Certainty has discontinued it. I can't offer you that. Let's talk about the colors that are available. So we're giving them that ammunition. Moving on. The other thing that we want to do is you can see here, I zoomed in on this same shot of the resources, but what we've done is we've created a memo. So this memo says extended lead times. And if you highlight it, what you'll see is this comes from the co-founder and my partner, Tom. And this says in recent weeks, we've seen, multiple communications that and from customer door manufacturers of shipping delays. So we're giving them this and we're proactively showing them this to the customer. So between giving them anything that comes, if we get a price increase, we put that into our resource center. If we get discontinued memos, we put it into our resource center. But most importantly, giving them a message of how they want to articulate it and giving them the tools to be successful. Don't rely on he said, she said. This is a picture of one of my salespeople. It's, and they're sitting in the house. This is what salespeople do. They sell. They don't want to create barriers to the sale. They are yes men and women. All right. If you're going in the house and you're selling, you're a yes man. I want to say yes more than I say no. So if you ask how long, we've seen on the news, we got estimates from somebody else. There's extended backlogs. Do you think are you guys doing better than average? Oh, yes, we are. Well, what's kind of worst case scenario? Well, worst case, 12 weeks, but we might be able to get in 8. It really depends on everything's changing so fast. And they try to create hope because it's hard. It's hard to sell somebody. I mean, you're sitting there, you're trying to win out against other bids, and here you are being transparent and honest, and the other people are saying, hey, we can get it for you in 4 weeks. We're not like those other companies. They sell the contract, and then they just provide crappy customer service moving forward as they got to push those people back. And you're trying to say, I want to be different than that. I want to be a better company than that. So, when you try to tell them, hey, we want to be honest and transparent, that's great. And you give them the tools to do that. And you write a memo from the owner. It doesn't mean that they're using it. So if you move forward here, what you'll see is one thing that we've done, we have real-time digital contracts. So it's super simple. So what we do is we go in and we just put a clause in our contract and say, hey, there's potential material delays. And what I'm looking for is I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, hey, your estimated install date is going to populate as 12 weeks post the contract date. And I'm also going to make you initial it. If you move on, there's a close-up of this, and we kind of pull this out of the contract. So due to material shortage and supply chain issues associated with COVID-19, now, why do I need to do that if I just tell my salespeople just to tell them? Just tell them there's going to be delays. See, this is prohibits. They can't not put this on there. The system does the math for them. And it makes it go on there. So now my customers are initialing something. So it's another validation. We're trying to be transparent. One other thing that we do is moving forward, again, people, they get, a little bit of amnesia, right? So what happens is this is a log. So this is a log of every resource and everything that my salespeople do in the house. Now we have this. Now we're doing a lot of estimates, so we're not combing through these logs often. but we come through them on an as needed basis. So if there's a customer that communicates back that says, hey, this is taking too long, our expectations were less than this. One, we have a contract. And then the second thing we do is, if you look at this log, if you move forward, I got a close up here, but if you look forward on October 21st, 2021 at 11:01, my sales representative opened the retail miscellaneous extended lead times memo. He kept that open during his presentation from 11:01 to 11:09. So I know that he focused on that and he showed them that. Now, that doesn't mean I go back and I take this information and I shove it back down my customer's throat, but I can build it into conversation. I mean, the customer is always right. So if a customer, that 12 weeks, they're just getting fatigued, through gentle reminders to be like, hey, well, we try to be as transparent with this as possible. We know 12 weeks doesn't maybe sound like a long time, but it feels like a long time. We went back and we looked at the contract. I mean, it clearly states, did you get the memo? I think they showed that to you. Let me resend that to you. I mean, we've tried to be transparent with this, and then we just try to win them that way. The other thing we're doing is, because we understand that there is amnesia, is we're keeping them up to date. So, you want to be proactive. Like, and let me explain this. Like, deal comes in, there's an 8-week lead time. In the first 2 weeks, maybe it's windows. In the first 2 weeks, you do your remeasures, maybe it's cabinets, whatever. It's bad. You do your remeasures, you do your site inspection, things are happening. You do your confirmation with them, you get everything ordered, maybe you make them sign off on it. And then you tell them right there on the phone, it's going to be 8 weeks until the stuff comes in. And they're like, nope, we understand that. We got it. It's going to be 8 weeks. And you're like, okay, great. Thank you so much for understanding. We'll call you as soon as it comes in. Everything's ordered. I swear you'll get an email or a phone call 3 weeks from now. Where's my stuff? This is taking too long. If it's not 3 weeks, it'll be at 6 weeks. Very rarely does everybody sit patiently, fingers crossed, for 8 weeks. 8 weeks doesn't sound like a long time, but it feels like an eternity when you're waiting for something new. And they don't keep track of the date of that conversation. 4 weeks goes down the road and they're like, but it's been 8 weeks already. Let me call them. I haven't heard anything. And we get those emails and it's disheartening. It's disheartening to our internal employees. Like, oh, they're not calling them. So what we're doing is we're being proactive. And what we have is, this is actually Market Chart. We're a Market Chart user. So this is Market Chart. We have a 12-step installation process that we use Market Chart's production for. And through that, we have email reminders synced to these production steps. I just pulled one out. I pulled one out. And it just is a friendly reminder. You'll see that at other production steps. Hey, your materials have been ordered. And then we have one that even goes out that's just a midpoint touch point. And it's like, Jesus, this feels like it's taking forever. We're with you. So we make them fun. We make them witty. So we proactively communicate to fight those emails down. Moving forward, and I'm winding down here. So, those are the things that we're doing to kind of control that post-sale, right? So it's about really clear understandings, making sure your salespeople have the tools. Proof is in the pudding. I'm not going to, did you tell them it was going to take 12 weeks? Oh, I told them. Didn't your salesperson tell you it was going to take 12 weeks? I'm not relying on that. We're using data and we have proof and transparency. And then we're proactively communicating. And we're doing it all with technology. I told you it'd feel a little self-serving. Some other things, just, and this is just personal opinion. These are some of the things that we've done to kind of shrink our service area. People always say that, like, oh man, I'm dealing with backlogs. It's taking longer to get inventory. We've done multiple price increases, multiple. We just go in leap, we increase them, and we just keep doing that. And we actually haven't, it doesn't change anything. So we're charging more for our products. We've cut off small tickets. Our small ticket used to be like $1,500. We've taken that up to $4 because, a 1 or 2 window job, dealing with the customer service and trying to provide transparency on an 8 to 12 week backlog, it's tough for that. And we really try to focus on keeping our core staff busy, right? So, making sure our core installers are really busy and keeping them fed with quality jobs. We did not stop marketing. We keep shoveling money into that, and we did not shrink our service area. For us, it made sense to just say, hey, let's not shrink the service areas. Let's just be more conscious of the jobs we're doing in particular service areas. So these are some of the things we've done. That's kind of a wrap for me. I wanted to be conscious. Looking forward to hearing the other speakers. I want to thank Tim, for the opportunity to do this. Thank all the sponsors and EverPro for putting it together. And fire off any questions at the end of this that you have.
All right, good stuff, Patrick. And we do have a number of questions that came in, pretty much related to the topic and the content you presented. So hang around till the end, and we'll bring those to the attention of the whole group. One thing here on this screen, Patrick, don't stop marketing. I think that's an important thing to talk about, because that's the temptation right now for a lot of companies. It's like, yeah, we're having trouble. We can't get stuff installed as quick as we want. Let's just wind down marketing and so forth. And man, that is a bad idea. I think there's two times to not stop marketing personally. When things aren't going well, in other words, in times of economic problems, when people aren't buying much, because there's a temptation to stop marketing then too, because you're saying nobody's buying, so why should I spend money? Or when things are going great, the two extremes. A lot of people think that's the time to stop marketing. Frankly, neither one are the best time to stop marketing, because if you do, there's going to be a void there. And when you decide, oh, darn it, things have changed, I got to get back at it, you lost a lot of momentum, you lost a lot of time. And a lot of your competitors who did not stop marketing have been in the marketplace, and they're now scooping up the stuff that you could have been scooping up. So I think that's great advice, Patrick, is not stop marketing. And again, the thing to do is, if you're increasing your price along with this, maybe your closing ratio isn't as high as it was, but your profitability is probably higher. So just balance those two things out, and I think you'll be in great shape. So with that, a little more on the sponsors, if you don't mind, and then we're going to bring Pam into the conversation. So now I'd like to talk about first Engage, and that's the company Pam is with, our next speaker. And Engage creates cloud-based presentation software that allows you to close more deals with powerful, seamless presentations. Love their product, love what they're doing. They came on the scene, gosh, just a couple of years ago. They're just killing it. A lot of the most successful companies in the country are using Engage. Guild Quality, many of you know Guild Quality and do business with them. And they help home improvement businesses ask their customers the best survey questions. They learn from satisfaction data and promote the strongest reviews and grow through high quality lead generation. So check out what Guild Quality can do for you. Our friends at Destination Motivation, they often offer proven strategies and systems leveraging vacation-based incentive tools designed to increase leads, closing rates, referrals, and profits, all while reducing cancellations. I'm always amazed when I talk to Caleb at Destination Motivation and just learn from him all the ways they've learned to leverage and use these incentive-based tools in their business. It's more than just using it as a closing tool, believe me. So check out what they can do. And Improvement 360, enterprise software built for your home improvement business. It's a CRM solution, custom built for our industry. And you can effortlessly manage customer and prospect relations, measure performance, and improve your processes. So onward to the next speaker, and that's going to be Pam Tory from Engage. And Pam's going to give us some insight maybe of how we can set up our customers and set up your business for success with your customers through your presentation. So Pam, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, welcome.
Thank you so much. We're really happy to be back. We were thrilled to be part of the first Prevail series last year and had a great time working with you guys on that. So we're very, very happy to be part of this conversation. Great. So today, what I really want to focus on is what I've been hearing from Engage's customers regarding how they set expectations with customers in the sales appointment. So when you're in that in-home selling environment, you're at the kitchen table with the homeowner or, wherever they choose to have the appointment in the home, how are your sales reps speaking with the customer? How are they setting up expectations with them in order to have more transparency, more clarity, and help them to really understand what's going on in the industry? I am a brand new homeowner myself. I just bought a home myself. And I realized, I'm going to have to start making some of these purchasing decisions. I honestly don't know a lot about some of the products that I'm going to have to buy. I'm going to be buying them for the first time, or, making one big purchase every 10 to 12 years for these products. And, I need a lot of education on this. So I imagine a lot of your customers out there really need a lot of education, and the sales presentation is where you can do that. So today, what I want to focus on is some 3 key steps to help your customers understand the delays and disruptions, understand why things are the way they are, and help them to build trust with you, and then hopefully close more deals. So our first step will be giving a state of the industry overview, giving customers visuals on the supply chain and helping them understand, what the industry actually looks like through visuals, and then using digital sales presentations and digital sales collateral to keep things up to date and communicate with your customers. So let's dive on into the first point here, state of the industry. So Engage works with all different kinds of customers. And one of the really great parts of my job within the company is that I get to talk to our most successful customers. I get to talk to the guys who are just doing crazy business, have had incredible results, and I get to do interviews with them to prep them for, case studies, webinars, conferences, all of those sorts of events. And so I really get to hear best practices from these customers that are working across different parts of the industry. So whether you are a full service design build remodeler, whether you're an exterior replacement remodeler, whether you only do 1-day bath or you do kitchens and baths, there are a lot of key insights that we have noticed as a company across all of those different verticals. And one of them is to really help customers understand how your business fits into the industry as a whole, and to understand how the industry works, and therefore why delays exist, and why it might take longer for certain projects to be completed than others. Again, as a new homeowner myself, I've had to go through a lot of education in this process, and our customers and your customers really need that information. They need to understand, how do you fit into the industry? Why is it that this particular kitchen remodel is looking like it's going to take 16 weeks? Why is it looking like, window replacement is going to take X amount of time? Give them that industry information, help them to understand what's going on, help them to understand your place in the industry. This is also a really great point where you can add in those different components that actually Tim was just talking about with like guild quality, or with some of the other partners who have participated in this Prevail series. You can showcase reviews, you can talk about the kind of trust that you have within the community, you can talk about how long your business has been around, you can talk about all these different industry insights, and help the customer to understand that, yes, it's really complicated right now. Yes, everything is a bit chaotic, but my company has been here for 20 some odd years. We're a family-owned business. We have great trust within the community. Here, let me show you what's currently going on today. Let me show you where we fit into the industry. We've just really found this has been very impactful, and we encourage all of our customers to do it. So, visuals. How many of us, and this is a rhetorical question, but how many of us have sat through a sales presentation or through a presentation when we were in school that had tons of text sitting on the page, and then a couple days later literally could not recall any of that information to either tell a friend about it, tell our partners about it, take a test? People don't recall written content. It's not something that sticks with them. People understand visuals. They understand pictures. They understand the impact of a video. What we have really found our most successful customers are doing is explaining visually what is going on in the industry. So I know Pat showed you guys just a couple minutes ago that on his contracts, they have a little line item where you can initial and acknowledge how long the delay could possibly be, what the estimated install date is. We actually recommend that in the sales presentation, you show a visual of what the actual timeline looks like currently for jobs, and you show a visual of how the supply chain functions. So where are you getting your materials? What manufacturers do you work with? You know, who's involved in this process of getting these materials into their home? This has been really impactful for our customers, and people recall visuals, they recall videos. I think it's why every time we see one of the stories about the supply chain on the news, the only thing that we can look at is like empty shelves with toilet paper, or looking at the Port of Los Angeles with shipping containers stacked high. Those are the visuals that we remember. So how about we give those visuals to our customers and help them to be able to see what's going on in the industry so that they process it better. All righty. And then keeping things up to date. Pat, I know you talked about this a little bit, using Leap to keep your estimates and contracts up to date. We really like to take this a step further and keeping sales content up to date. How many times have we all been in a situation where you see something in an advertisement, you know, maybe you saw a commercial or you saw a printout or you saw something online and you really want it, and then you find out that it's not in stock. And you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm just not going to buy it now because it's not in stock anymore. Imagine what happens to our customers when you're giving a sales presentation and they're seeing colors and styles and options that are not currently available. And while you may have removed them from your estimates, you've removed these options from your pricing guides and all of that, they're still in your sales presentation. That really is an awful situation for your customer and your sales rep to be in, where they have to tell the customer, I'm sorry, this item that you really liked in the sales presentation is not in stock currently. Keep your sales content up to date the same way that you keep your pricing guides, the same way that you keep your inventory up to date. You want to reflect what you currently have. We have a great customer, Allure Home Improvements, that we've been working with for a while now, and they actually were on a webinar with us in Improve It 360 earlier this year. And one thing they have been doing consistently is constantly going into their sales presentation, updating the pricing, updating the products, making sure that all of the colors are updated with what their manufacturers are providing. So that way they're never showing something that they don't have. They're never showing something that has an incorrect price to a customer, and they're never showing something that they can't get in a timely manner to a customer. And that has been a huge thing for them during this whole process with volatility and backlogs and delays. Their customers know what to expect. They know what's available for them. They understand what they can get for their home. And we just think that's really, really important. And it helps your team to be better prepared when they're going into the home. They're not going to be showing somebody, you know, a bathroom insert that's not available. They're not going to be showing somebody a shingle that's going to take 3 months to get in the sales presentation. It will be current stock. It'll be items that you know the homeowner can point to and say, that's what I want on my house. And then your rep is able to write up the contract for it. So those are just some thoughts that we have and things that we've noticed from our most successful customers at Engage.
All right, well, thanks for that, Pam. I know there's plenty of other things that Engage does presentation-wise, but today we're just focusing a little bit on the things that are going to help out with the supply chain issue. So like with Patrick, a bunch of questions came in for you. People have some questions on maybe how to better leverage some of these ideas. So we'll get to those when we get to the Q&A. So that said, let's go ahead and get the last 4 sponsors mentioned here. First off, Leap. You certainly have heard about Leap up to this point with Patrick's presentation. Leap is sales software that helps home improvement businesses eliminate errors and increase efficiency by simplifying and automating the day-to-day in-home sales process. Has pricing in there, so you don't have to fiddle with price lists. Has great contract generation stuff in there. So it's just a tool that, again, many of the most successful companies in the country are using. So contractors appointments or contractor appointments, and those are folks that help provide a seamless introduction of homeowners to local contractors by scheduling appointments that you only have to pay on a per sale basis. And that's kind of a no-brainer. If someone will get appointments for you and the only time you pay for them is if you sell it, probably something you might want to check out. So they do a great job generating leads in multiple different product categories. So you might want to check out what Contractor Appointments has to offer. Associated Materials. And many of us know them amongst other products as the outside group. And they serve the need of contractors, builders, and remodelers and architects through their company-owned wholesale stores and select independent distributor partners throughout the United States and Canada. And in the first webinar last week, Sean from Associated Materials really brought up some great points of how at this point you really should tweak your product offering a bit. Make sure you're selling the kind of products that first off you can get, and secondly, don't take forever to install because we got some labor issues and things such as that. He brought some great ideas to light with those suggestions as well. And then finally, we got our friends at G4 Marketing, and they provide a proven system for creating better quality leads, closing more sales, and making you more money for your home improvement contracting business. Specifically, they do a great job with taking a customer that you get and turning them into a raving fan for your business and a lifetime customer. And I think we all know what that gets us. That gets us great reviews online, which are like gold to your business. It gets you repeat business and it gets you referral business. So if you're not working with the folks at G4 Marketing, certainly check out what they do, and I think you'll love what they have to offer. So with that, our last speaker, and then we'll get to some of the Q&A. And again, hang around for that because there's a lot of great stuff that's come in. So I want to bring my friend John Anglis into the call right now. John, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning. Oops. Hello.
Hey, John, it's Patrick. I can hear you. I think Tim maybe fell off there for a second.
Uh-oh. Is that me or him?
I think that'd be him because I can hear you.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
me. It's me, John. You're good to go.
There we go.
All right. So am I starting or am I waiting?
You are starting.
Oh, my apologies. All right. So thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very excited to share some of the things that we're doing in Connecticut. I can't recite my name in less than 15 minutes, so I'm going to have to go through this pretty fast, and I'm glad we're recording it. So some of the problems resulting from supply chain issues, a lot of times salespeople are resulting appointments, demo, no sale. Can we shrink this lead time down because another one I lost because they didn't want to wait. Another thing that I think is happening is late cancellations because people get tired of waiting. And then finally, when you get the job installed, a lot of customers can hunt for discounts for compensation because we had to wait. So moving forward, that's what I'm going to talk about today. So those of you who know me and clients that are on my staff that might be watching, you know my routine. There are two reasons not to buy. There are two reasons to late cancel. There are two reasons to fish for discounts. And that is the reason that they give you and the real reason. And that's important because salespeople are the easiest people to sell moving forward. So let's start with no sale. Yeah, I don't want to wait. So again, there are two reasons that people don't buy, the reason they give you and the real reason. Moving along. Are you sure that waiting is the real reason? So I know we're talking about supply chain issues, but I want to remind everybody that when it's Christmas, they can't do it because it's Christmas. And perception is reality. But what do you expect? It's Christmas. How am I supposed to sell? And we're going to wait until spring. Then in the spring, they spent their tax return at something else. And then into the summer. You call in the summertime, they're going on vacation. In the fall, they got kids in school. I want to remind everybody not to forget that backlog issues and I don't want to wait, they're real, but I don't think they're as real as they're being portrayed. So one of the things I have done with my sales manager in Connecticut is to make certain that we're following the sales system. Make sure that we're not bringing baggage from one step to the next to the next. Now imagine you have a homeowner you're spending time with, you have a great relationship. They're thinking, how am I going to tell this poor guy after 3 hours he's way overpriced? Well, guess what? Well, if I could get it in 2 weeks, I would do it. But since I have to wait, never mind. That's not the real reason. The real reason is something else. So my advice, which we're paying attention to, is making sure more than ever that we're following the system. Next slide. Right, so there used to be 4 questions that I would train salespeople to help them answer for homeowners to make a sale. Why our company? Why our product? Why our price, which is your price conditioning versus the value we offer? And then why now? Because we're a one-call close company. Now we have to anticipate the 5th why. Why wait for our product? Why wait for our solution? And we got to do this throughout the presentation, or at least we are. Next slide. So to differentiate what is and what is not the reason, the real reason to buy our products, why not take away the keys to the getaway car throughout the process so that we can truly isolate when it is a supply chain, I don't want to wait issue versus other aspects of our sales presentation. So my suggestion and what we do is bring it up first. I have this expression I use. There we go. If you bring it up first, you're on offense. You control the context. If a homeowner brings it up first, now you're on defense, you're backpedaling, and you don't have as much control or influence over the situation. So for example, many people are great companies and they happen to have a bad bad review somewhere. If you bring it up first and say, look guys, I mean, with all the jobs that we do, you know that you're not going to please everyone all the time, right? Homeowner says, well, yeah, of course. But if you don't do that, and then at the end when you ask for the sale, they bring it up as a reason not to buy, well, no, because, you know, now you're on defense, and that's not the real reason they're not buying. That's just you gave them the keys to the getaway car. So what we do at our sales department is we bring up in step 2, our needs assessment, we bring up organically supply chain issues. Right, so what we might do is as we're having a discussion, how are you guys managing it? Can you believe all the toilet paper people are buying? How about restaurants? You know, you go to a restaurant and it's half empty, but it takes so. If you have discussions with homeowners as not a salesperson, but as a person to person, sharing and commiserating some of the experiences, I think that's a great opportunity to start the discussion. Now, quick science experiment. If you throw a frog in a pot of boiling water, right, it'll jump out. If you put a frog in lukewarm water and gradually turn the heat up, it'll actually boil alive and it won't even know. So that's why I like to start in step 2 with that. If we start right off the bat, you know, we're looking at 12 weeks, you know, people are going to freak out. They're going to jump out of the pot and they're going to go to your competitors, hear the same thing, and by the 5th time, that person gets the project. So I think there's a science to how we bring this up. So for us, like I said, we start talking organically. Another thing way ahead that I start planting a seed for now is I'm going to share a story on how, you know, I feel bad because I was at a restaurant over the weekend and it took 10 minutes to get water. And, you know, I'm naturally an impatient person. I start complaining to my wife. She goes, hey, moron, they're short staffed. I go, oh my God, I completely forgot. I want to get the homeowner talking about how maybe they've done that as well, because flash forward 12 weeks when I'm hearing problems with installation or waiting, let's say, we can tie back to that. You know, a lot of our customers are experiencing the same stress and pressure we're experiencing in their job, but if we can plant that seed during casual conversation, it won't be that hard to take the edge off of it later on. During the needs assessment, measure, and inspection, we say in that step, we have to identify and intensify urgency. The longer you wait, the more it's going to cost due to collateral damage. What a great opportunity to say, you know, guys, do you see, for example, if you find rot, if you find mold, if you're doing a bath inspection and someone's worried about safety issues, in the past, what you can say potentially is, listen, guys, you mentioned earlier that this is something that you want to do in 3 months. Whether it's me or any other company with supply chain issues, if you want it in 3 months, you're running out of time, right? Whether it's me or somebody else. If you're waiting 6 months, right, this is going to get worse, obviously, before it gets better. Would you agree? Well, absolutely. So if this is something you're expecting to do at some point, you might. So we can bring up supply chain issues during that portion as well. Not making it self-serving, right? Whether us or anybody else, that's something you might want to consider. So we turn the heat up a little bit. Company credentials is our step 4. Now, this is my personal story. Last year, we did $5.2 million. We shut down for 3 months during the virus. This year, we are going to do 10 or just below $10 million, right? So during our company story, I'm going to explain to the homeowner, or we're explaining to homeowners, that we doubled our revenue. And if you look at our reviews online, we still have pretty much a sterling reputation, right? That's part of our company credentials normally. But then we're going to say, and listen, one of the reasons we're doing that is that we're being pretty straight up about supply chain issues. A lot of contractors who are desperate for business are going to tell you what you want to hear. Now, the problem, guys, is after the 3-day rescission, once your check has cleared and 30 days turns into, oh, it's going to be 12 weeks, you're stuck. And the only way out is to get into legal, and it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more money, maybe the cost of 2 bathrooms, and be stuck with the contractor that, had you known what you know, you might not have chose them. You might would have gone with somebody a little bit better. I think one of the reasons we've got such a great reputation still is because we're being very honest and transparent about what it is, to make sure that we're not only doubling our revenue, but making sure that customer satisfaction is key. Now, at this point, you're going to hear, well, how long is your lead time? It really depends on what you choose. And we're going to get there very soon. But just so you know, that's how we run our business. And that's part of our company credentials. Again, we turn the heat up a little bit. During step 5, why our product? That's the step where we do some price conditioning and we show how we compare with everybody else. Now, our normal trial close is typical. Guys, when the time comes to have it installed, if made affordable, I mean, do you even like this system? Would you have our jacuzzi system installed? Homeowner says, absolutely. Another trial close we asked before this whole stuff happened would be, how do we compare with others you might have seen? And I want the homeowner to sell back. And when they sell back, we've added a third. So guys, can I ask a question? Sure. Do you see why so many homeowners have decided to wait a little bit longer to get the system they want? Oh, absolutely. What a great opportunity to turn the heat up again with a third trial close, which ties into, we've doubled our revenue, people are waiting, and we have a lot of customer satisfaction nonetheless. Okay. Again, during step 9 for us, that's why now, the buy today. I don't have to give any tips on that. We all know with supply chain issues, the longer you wait to place an order, the longer it's going to take to get. Inflation is running rampant. Guys, right now our price is X, right? Everybody's prices are 5% higher. Do you want to wait until they jump another 5%? Right? And you know what? Maybe when you're shopping around, maybe you find another price for something similar for a couple $100 less. But what's the point if you're going to add to that the cost of inflation? Just by waiting, you've given up the savings, right? And then finally, during step 10, which is our buttoning up of the sale to help with late cancellations, I think it's a good idea to let homeowners realize that many manufacturers have caught up with manufacturing. When you guys place an order, once we get past rescission, we're placing the order, factory's turning around product. The problem isn't manufacturing the product. The problem is getting it from the warehouse to the trucks to the end user. So one of the things I think that has happened early with us is when you say that there's a delay, homeowners think they have a right to cancel because your salesman said 12 weeks, you probably haven't even ordered it yet. And now again, they bring that up, you're on defense and you're backpedaling. Our button-up process, which has worked pretty well, has been, so once we're past rescission, we're ordering it. The problem isn't getting it ordered, or getting it produced. The problem is getting it to us. And when you do that, there's a lot more commitment to the homeowner that, yeah, your custom windows are manufactured. They're there. I just can't get them here. And I think that's a very powerful seed to plant if you train your salespeople so that it helps on the back end when you're dealing with late cancellations. I do say don't overplay your hand, however. Next slide, please. All right, so late cancels. Customer calls up, I don't want to wait anymore. There are 2 reasons to late cancel. The reason they give you and the real reason. Let's assume there's 12 weeks to wait. Customer says after week 4, you know what, honey? We got another 2 months to wait, or another month to wait. Why don't we get another couple estimates, see what happens? And as Patrick called it, amnesia, right? Maybe people forget the extra value they invested in. They get another estimate from another contractor who's less expensive, lies to them to tell them, right, that they can do it in 4 weeks. And now they call and say, well, I lost my job. right? That's like Patrick talked the top 500 that a lot of times contractors say when they're late on or they have to reschedule an install that the reason is their truck broke down. If that were true, there should be trucks broken down all up and down the highway. Well, I say the same thing. When people try to late cancel, it's usually I lost my job or I got a pink slip. Well, if that's the case, there should be devastation in the local economies of our states, right? So there's the reason they give you and the real reason. And my question is, how well do we take away the keys to the getaway car? Ooh, very good transition. So my question is this, and some of this is going to overlap from what Patrick said, but did you bring up first to stay on offense throughout the presentation these supply chain issues as I discussed? How well you do that on the front end will help you on the back end. Did you set realistic expectations at point of sale? Once again, yes, it's 12 weeks, but it's not taking 12 weeks to get the manufacture the product. It's to receive it to put you in a position that makes them more committed to the order. Are you recording all telephone interactions, saving texts and updates as Patrick talked about earlier to keep a paper trail? So I won't get too much on that. Are you limiting the amount of deposit taken on the credit card? Here's something I learned. I learned that the common denominator with late cancels is credit card deposits. And I know that we want to make it easy for customers to give us their money, and I still believe that. But you would be amazed how many times you say, like a car dealership, unfortunately, I can only take 500. Really? Oh, okay. That's a lot of times, that's how easy it is, right? Maybe a homeowner fights a little bit and it turns out it's take the credit card or nothing. That's fine. If it's take the credit card or nothing, when you have nothing, you've got nothing to lose. But you'd be amazed when you say to a home, or here's another popular question when you're writing an order. I would train salespeople on. Can you take a credit card or does it have to be a check? You look up from writing the order, check would be great. Go back, put your face back into your iPad, finish writing up the order. It's amazing what you can get just by asking. The more credit card deposits you take, the more in jeopardy your order is because credit card companies will always side with the homeowner. And if you can get a third down by check that's already cleared, guess what? You're not even going to get the late cancel call because they know that you've got the money and they'll just roll with it. So I think that's a very important tool we've implemented. And then legal ease on agreements. On the front of our agreement, it says, homeowner understands that the agreement represents the entirety of the agreement and no verbals will be honored, and we make them initial it. So now when they have amnesia, as Patrick called it, well, that's not what the salesman said. They said, well, guys, listen, I can appreciate that, and I know it's been a long time, but if you look at this agreement, you initialed this very box, followed by the paper trail of recorded phone calls, etc. Next slide. Okay? I want a discount because I had to wait. There are two reasons people ask for discounts, and the people that are asking you for a discount for waiting are the same people that would have asked you a discount because you were 5 minutes late to the install. There are many opportunists out there. Next slide. Okay, so are you sure that why they're asking for a discount is the real reason they're asking for a discount? Did you take away the keys to the getaway car? Next slide. Okay, so I want a discount because I waited. I'm going to just reiterate again. How well have you implemented everything we discussed so far? You know, implementing supply chain issue discussion, gradually turning up the heat. Are you on time, on top of your game with updates along the way? Pat talked about that. I'm not going to get too much in depth on that. Recording phone calls. Another piece of advice I give, we have a rule at Carefree. A lot of homeowners try divide and conquer strategies. Well, that's not what he said. And I remember back in the day, John promised that with this 3-window order, you would completely reside my entire home. Our rule at Carefree is as soon as another person's name is brought up, we stop the conversation and say, respectfully, Mrs. Johnson, let me get Mike on the phone. I wasn't at the kitchen table with you. I'm not aware of a conversation. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's only fair that we get Mike on. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. Do you know how many times we do that and the homeowner realizing they're about to be caught goes, whatever, never mind. I don't want the hall deciding. Just put the 3 windows in. No, I don't mind. No, don't worry about it. Whatever. I'll just take the 3 windows. That trick, that technique is amazing The rule at Carefree is anytime someone else's name is mentioned, get them part of the conversation, stop the conversation immediately until that can happen. It's amazing how many of these issues work themselves out. And then when the person can actually call the homeowner to defend themselves, that's another level of it working itself out. Next slide. Excuse me, can you go back? I apologize. I went a little too fast for myself. All right, the last one is, how often have you raised your prices to reduce inventory? So I'm going to say this. Pat already talked about this. Like I said, there's a lot of overlapping as we did these independently. We've raised our prices 6, and my sales manager said 7 times this year. Last year, our demo close rate was about 39.5%. Year to date, it's 37. That means that we've raised our prices approximately 25% year to date, and our closing rate dropped 2 points, or overall, I guess you could say 5%. If you divide 37 into 39, you get like 5%. But my point is, how many of us want to raise prices 25% and only lose 2 points in your closing? So to me, what that means is that when I can raise my prices that many times and my prices, my close rate's not dropping significantly, that means I'm giving value away for free. Every 90 days, if my numbers maintain and stabilize, I raise them again. 90 days later, I raise them again, right? Next slide. I'm not giving away value for free. So like I said, guys, all the reasons we're getting, all these supply chain issues, my advice is to look at it first. Are they the real reasons we're having trouble, or are they just the reasons they're giving us? And it's very easy because we believe the supply chain issues are real, and to a degree they are, but I contend that they're not as real as we believe they are. And that's why I think tightening some other areas of our business takes the keys away to the getaway car. Next slide. Right? And I just say, how good have we been at taking away the keys to the getaway car? Tim, I know I'm a little long technically, but you said end by the top of the hour. I have done that. 2 presentations in a row. I end early. Thank everybody for putting this on. Thank you for inviting me, and I hope this was worth your time.
All right, good stuff, John. And if anyone would like to get in touch with John, his contact information is on screen right now. And John has trained a lot of people in the business with some of these sales ideas that he has. So feel free to reach out to John if you have any questions. Okay, with that, I just want to mention a couple things, and hang on because we're going to get to some of the questions that came in, and I know you guys will love these questions and probably on your mind. But join us for 3 great upcoming live events. Many of the sponsors of this particular series are also sponsors of these events. And let me just say this about live events. A couple of weeks ago, many of us were at the Qualified Remodeler Top 500 live event in New Orleans. And here's what I noticed. I go to these events a lot, and I noticed event after event after event, the people that are there are the most successful companies in the country. You know, they're not saying, oh, I can't get there because I'm too busy. The reason they can get there is because they go to these live events, they figure out how to manage and run their businesses so they can get away. So let me just say that I really recommend some of these live events. If you haven't been to any of them, they're great. You get to rub shoulders with people just like you. Frankly, you'll learn a bunch from them, probably as much or more than you learn from the people speaking at the front of the room. But here's 3 events that are upcoming. One upcoming fairly quickly in Key West. Who wouldn't want to go there this time of year, especially if you're from the north? And that's Rick Rossel's Owners Camp. And that's a great event that's been going on for years. This year it has a dimension of the folks at Grosso University also providing content. So that is December 9th and 10th of this year. And then into February, we got 2 great events. We got Dave Yoho's Home Improvement Profitability Summit, and that's in conjunction with IRE, the International Roofing Expo. So if you're going to that event, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, get to this one. And just great speakers at this event. I think you'll love it. They also have the legends of the home improvement industry going on associated with this event. So you might want to check this out as well. And then we have our friends at G4 Marketing with Accelerate Live 2022. And this has turned into one of the best events in our industry. And that's going to be again in Florida in Fort Lauderdale, February 15th and 16th. Now, keep in mind that many of us as sponsors of these events either have comp tickets available or heavily discount tickets available. So if you'd like to learn more about these events, I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to let us know. I'm going to launch a poll right now. And if you're interested in any or all of these events, just go ahead and click on the ones you're interested in. We'll get you the information that you can learn more about them. And you can get your hands on some of these comp or discounted tickets and get your staff there. So I'm going to leave the poll up for just a little bit longer. It looks like about 20% of you submitted your responses thus far. Go ahead. The rest of you click if you're interested in these events, and we'll gather up your information and get you a follow-up with information on the events. Okay, last chance. I'm going to count down from 5, so go ahead and click. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, going to close the poll. Thanks for that. Again, if you express interest in these events, we will certainly reach out to you and get you the information you are after. So with that, how about some Q&A? But before we bring the questions up, one more thing I want to do is remind you that these sponsors are why we had the webinar here today. So hopefully you might want to reach out to some of them and learn a little more about what they do. And while we're doing some of the Q&A, I'm going to go ahead and put a poll question up. And if you're interested in learning more from any of these sponsors, go ahead and let us know here. You can select multiple items here. And let me just try to categorize some of these things for you. The poll question asks if you're interested in lead generation and web strategies. And there you would have Socius, contractor appointments, G4, and guild quality that can help you there. Industry-specific CRM solutions, of course, MarketSharp and Improvement 360. Point of sale applications, Leap and Engage can help you there. Presentations, Destination Motivation can help you in your presentations. And of course, Engage can in many ways. And then manufacturing and distribution, if you'd like to learn more about the kind of products that can help you through some of these times, our friends at Associated Materials can help you there. So go ahead and just click on screen and we will get this information to those appropriate sponsors and they'll reach out to you. So with that, how about a couple questions? Many have come in, so we're probably not going to get to all of them. So first one's for John. This question came in, and John, how did your salespeople handle? You mentioned you raised prices 6 or 7 times within the last year. How did your salespeople handle increasing prices as many times as you did?
So anytime we make a change, we always start with why, because if they believe what we believe, success happens. And we're big on people development. So earlier this year, I did a money management webinar, or rather workshop, where I kind of shared what I do, investments, things like that. And we talked a lot about inflation. So if a salesperson made $100,000 last year and nothing changes and they do the same 100 this year, inflation being 5% means they took a $5,000 pay cut. They only made $95,000. So my sales team knows that this year, your guys' closing rate as a team dropped 2 points, but your income went up by 25% if we raised our price by 25%, and they're getting 10% of that. So that means following our strategy and following our leadership, you guys gave yourself a pay raise and didn't have to work any harder to do that. We're also big on our training, teaching that it's not the price, it's the perception of value. People will buy when the value exceeds the price. If we're at a certain price and our closing numbers are what they are, we raise the price and 90 days later, the closing numbers stay the same, we gave value away for free. We'll raise it. So we explain that along the way so that they understand. And as you tie it back and say, hey guys, remember we raised price last month? Yeah. Some of you might have thought, oh no, what are we doing? How'd you make out? And that's how we build leadership capital along the way.
All right, great stuff. Pat, here's one for you. Seems from your content that you're using a few different pieces of software to manage your business and help you through these particular issues. How'd you pick these pieces of software and how'd you prioritize which ones to start with?
Well, we didn't start with Leap. I'll tell you that much. The first software we started with was, I believe it was ACT, which was an out-of-the-box CRM before we moved to MarketSharp. But look, I get this question a lot because I think softwares are inundating the marketplace, and that people that are using them seem successful. So people that maybe aren't using them feel like they need to add them. And I'm just going to answer this question at a macro level because there's no right or wrong. I mean, the important thing is adding a piece of technology to your business will not help you in any way, shape, or form unless you utilize that technology to overcome challenges. So in that answer is the solution. What are your biggest challenges? You know, what are your biggest challenges? And I promise you, there's a technology that can help streamline that. And, you know, you plug the biggest hole in the dam first. So whichever is the biggest challenge, then you find the technology to support and overcome that challenge. And the recipe for success isn't the technology, it's the elimination of the pain point. So, you know, I know that's kind of a dodgy answer, but it's the right answer. Don't onboarding technology that you don't use effectively to overcome your challenges will do absolutely nothing for your business. Identifying the gaps in your systems and processes and bringing technology in to overcome those systems and processes will do wonders. So I would prioritize by biggest first.
All right, good answer. Here's a follow-up that came in, and I know my guess is you're using more, but this person asked, what are the top 4 pieces of software that you'd recommend people get started with?
Whew, man, that's a tough one. Start with Leap. No, just playing.
Imagine that.
I'm joking. Listen, it's funny. I mean, you would say CRMs, right? And I get this question a lot. You know, CRMs, accounting softwares, and then point of sale softwares are all going to rank at the tops for me. And just selling software, selling solutions. So it's really like, what does your business consist of? If you're doing large project work and you need like project and inventory management, that's fine. If you're a sales and marketing firm, like a lot of companies, and they're really maybe outsourcing or using like a furnish and F&I install program, then maybe you're going to go with the selling solution first. You know, I think that it really depends. Like customer lifecycle plays a part in it. Like for us, customers for us, I don't want to say they're a once and done, but like people buy a roof, they buy windows maybe once. So managing that customer is not as important to us as managing the selling process. So we might prioritize that higher. We don't have a ton of inventory management. Like we don't hold our inventory. We go right from supply chain right to homeowner's house. So I don't need inventory management software. But you know, the 3 at the top are going to be, you know, your selling and customer focusing software, your customer management CRM software, and your accounting software. You know, whether that be QuickBooks or something else.
All right, sounds good. One for Pam. And Pam, I think you answered this a little bit in your content, but maybe you can elaborate a little bit more. How can sales content and digital materials help with training reps around positioning production delays in a manner that helps our company?
Yeah, so there are a few different ways that digital content can really help out there. Number one is just keeping your messaging aligned. I think that is probably the hardest thing right now, is making sure that every single one of your reps is communicating the same message to a customer. You can't follow them around, unfortunately, all the time, especially if you've got a larger team. There's just no way you're going to be able to do ride-alongs with all of them. So if your digital content is aligned across the team, you know that at least the messaging that the customer's looking at will be the same. Number 2 is really for role plays and training during team meetings. If everybody's working with the same collateral, if it's constantly up to date, you can really quickly do a role play or do a training, you know, just a few minutes when you're helping your team be able to position different changes within the business. We actually got our start in this particular industry through a training program. And we started working with a new pro doing training, and that was how we got started here. And it was because our platform allows people to stay consistently up to date. So as long as your digital content's up to date, it's really helpful for training. And I think the third leg to this is that it really helps you communicate things quickly with the team. You don't have to go around and hope that everybody will stop into the office to drop off their old brochures or drop off their old PDFs. You can make sure that you just push the updates out to them, whether it's through cloud storage, through email, through an app like Engage. You can really quickly get those materials out rather than having to collect every single piece of physical content that's out there and then, you know, burn it because it's no longer up to date and it's communicating old information. So really just, I think the crux of it is just keeping everybody up to date and on the same message.
All right, great, Pam. And then a quick follow-up question. Here's a question that came in. This person must know a little bit about what Engage does. And they're asking, do you have any presentation templates available for use with Engage?
Yeah, we've got a lot. Depends on what vertical you're in. And we've got some great sample presentations for folks in full design build. We've got sample presentations for exterior remodeling, bathrooms, kitchens. We're also coming up with all sorts of new use cases based on the feedback we've gotten from our customers and the kinds of things they're up to. We're working on some sample presentations for appointment confirmations that you can send out through our web linking process. Especially if you've got one of those great campaigns set up within MarketSharp to confirm and stay in touch with your customers, you can just load an Engage link right in there. So we have a lot of really great sample presentations available.
All right, awesome. Well, listen, we're coming pretty much to the end of our session here. We pretty much used our outside 75-minute limit here. So I'm just going to turn you guys loose in a second here, but last chance if you want to submit your response on the poll question here. I'll give you just a couple seconds to do that, and then I will close the poll. And then we will close. All right, thanks again to the speakers and the sponsors, and of course to everybody that joined us for this webinar here today. It's kind of exciting to realize that hundreds and hundreds of contractors like yourselves are out there looking for this kind of information. And what I love is we have folks like John, Pam, and Patrick that will share it. It's kind of a neat industry that we're in that allows that to happen. So thanks again to everybody that was involved in this webinar on the production side and also in attending the webinar. Watch your email for more information on upcoming events. As we wind down the year here, there seems to be an influx of educational webinars that are presented by many of the sponsors on this. So watch for the ones that make the most sense for you. Go ahead and attend them. And we appreciate you guys being here. So talk to you all very soon, and hopefully you all have a great holiday season. Bye now.